Now, regarding the Pharisees and the Sadducees, Joseph this is what Joseph had to say regarding to these two religious sects. And he provides a description of, both the Pharisees and Sadducees, and he tends to describe the differences in this way. So the Pharisees were a prominent religious group among the Jews during the days of Jesus, and they were known for their strict adherence to Jewish law, meticulous observance of religious rituals, and a strong belief in the resurrection of the dead and the existence of angels and spirits. And the Pharisees emphasized the importance of oral tradition alongside written laws, making interpretations and traditions a crucial part of their religious practice. And they were actually, also very popular among the common people. And they often had a strong influence in the synagogues. And, after reading this, I couldn't stop thinking about the Chosen series, which strongly depicts the Pharisees as respected leaders in their community, and the devotion they had, to study the Torah and the Pentateuch and, the Old Testament scriptures at the time, and not only to study it, but to teach other Jews about God's law. Now the Sadducees, on the other hand, they were another influential sect in ancient Israel and ancient Judaism, but particularly among the aristocracy and the priestly class. Now, the Sadducees were more conservative, and they focused primarily on the written Torah, rejecting the oral traditions upheld by the Pharisees. And what this meant is that the Sadducees would take, the first books of the Bible, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, and that's all they would read, are the first 5 books of the Bible. And they would completely reject, like Joshua, Judges, the Psalms, the prophets, and, the rest of Jewish history. They also did not believe in an afterlife, including the resurrection of the dead. They did not believe in angels or demons or any other spirits. And the Sadducees were more centered around the temple and its religious rituals. And many of them were, in fact, Levitical priests or members of high priestly families. And the Sadducees' authority actually stemmed from their positions in the temple and their control over religious matters. And this tells me that the Sadducees were most likely Levites or from the tribe of Levi, because according to Jewish tradition, the Levites or the Levitical priests were those in charge of the temple and in charge of worshiping and sacrificing before the Lord. So this tells me that the Sadducees, most, if not all of them, were, more mainly Levites, or they were descended from the tribe of Levi. But, to summarize these two sects of religious Jews, the key difference between the Pharisees and the Sadducees were ultimately their beliefs and practices. As mentioned earlier, the Pharisees were characterized by their adherence to both written and oral laws, the old Torah, and the belief in the afterlife, as well as popularity among the general populace, whereas the Sadducees primarily focused on the written Torah, and they rejected the idea of an afterlife, and they were mainly closely associated with the religious establishment and temple rites. And of course, these differences often led to tensions and disagreements between the two groups, and these two groups have been fighting, and it's not until Jesus, shows up later on in the story, and he tells them Sadducees that there is actually a resurrection of the dead, and in fact, later on, he begins to quote, himself when, the story of the burning bush, when God told Moses, I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And God never said I was the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but I am. And saying that I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is important, because if Abraham of the Jewish patriarchs were dead, then God would say, I was the God of your forefathers. But he didn't say that. He said, I am, which ultimately proves that there is, in fact, life after death, and that ultimately the Sadducees got it wrong.